figure out which year in the 20th century was a perfect square. There's only one. So first, to solve this problem, we first have to define what the 20th century is. So the 20th century, it's all the years from, well, I'm just gonna write down all this information in words, 1901 all the way to 2000. Okay, I know it's a little off board. So it's all the years from 1901 all the way to 2000. 2000 is not a lot, like the number 2000. So there isn't really a very good way to solve this problem immediately, but so what we're gonna do is just guess. Well, 40 squared, that's a little too less. We know that's 1600, and 50 squared, well, that's way too much. Hence, that would be 2500. So the 1600, it's less than 1901, and this 2500 is larger than our 2000. So we're gonna take all our information, we're gonna bring it all together. We're gonna lower it to 45 squared, and 45 squared is just 2025. What's that? Oh, you wanna know why I know 45 squared is 2025? I use my super secret squaring technique. Maybe I'll tell you about that later. But first we'll focus on the problem, okay? So, well, 2025, it's still larger than 2000, but look what's happening here. Just a teeny bit larger than 2025. So we know 44 squared is our answer. Now it's something to circle that and move on. But he said, what year? 44 squared. That's not a year. Second of all, I don't think they'll take that. I don't think the people will take that as an answer. That's not so accurate. We better compute this. So, now, thus, I'll give you a hint of my super secret squaring technique, and I'll give you the equation. It's equal to 45 squared minus 44 minus 45. Okay, this is what it's equal to. We'll tell you why this is true in the next video. But first, we will compute this out, okay? So 45 squared, that's 2025. And then to get this, subtract 89, you should know this. Wait, subtract 100. And 11, it's an easy word, anyways. So, equal to 1936. Okay. I know what you're here for, right? You're here for my super secret squaring technique. So, at the end of the last problem, I got to 45 squared and then 44 squared. And then 44 squared, we switched 45 squared. Then we subtract 44, subtract 45. And we figured out 45 squared was 2025. So to conclude that these two are true, I'm going to use pictures to explain everything. So first I'm going to start off with my 45 by 45 square. Then I'm going to cut it up like these, like this. And these side lengths, I'm going to label them 5. So I want the length to remain 45. These lower sides, they'll have to be 40. And then this is the area of our shape. So no matter how I arrange the pieces, the area will stay the same. So if I can arrange them, no matter how I want, I can just like put this piece here and get this piece back here. So I'm gonna make this piece of the circle, gonna move it down here, like that. So here, this is my regular 45 by 45 square. So I'm gonna cut this off like this, so that this a little shorter than its length. Okay, maybe that's a little too wide. Sorry, I'm not such a great artist at perfect geometry, so. There, that's about the size. So, I still have my 40, about 40. This 40, this is still 40. We didn't change the side lengths. Yeah, another thing, the perimeter does change, I think, since here it only shows 2 side lengths, here it shows 3. The perimeter does change a little bit. Still, we care about the area, not perimeter. And we still have this little skinny 5 by 40. Skinny 5 by 40. This is a 5. And you can't forget about the little 5 square piece up there. So we still have this little square. 5 square, that's its area, which is 45. So now, this is 5, this is 40, I just went with that. So now, look what we have here. This total length, that total length is 40 plus 5 plus 5, we get 50. So I'm going to separate this off. Or to separate this off, I would have a 40 by 50 rectangle plus a little extra 25 area. So that's how we define any number squaring any number that ends in 5. So I can conclude that 45 squared equals 40 times 50. And then we add on 25 to 5 squared. But how do we don't want to draw these 2 rectangles since they're pretty complicated. So we don't want to draw them every time we're squaring a number that ends in 5. So what we do here is, I see a number ends in 5, right? I see like, maybe, let's use this little box. So I see like number ends in 5, like A5, I just say the tens place is A, or the hundreds place is A. So I go to the next and previous, the very next and previous multiples of 5, and then I add on 25. So I'm gonna go to whatever A5 is, I'm gonna go to the number that's 5 less than A5, and then go to the number that's 5 more than A5, and then multiply those together, we add on 25. I know, that's not a very good conclusion, but there isn't really a good formula for every single difference, since I just express this using, it's a little complicated. So, using this, we can actually define 44 squared pretty easily too. So, I'm gonna change this first to 45 squared. Change it first to 45 squared, which we defined first was 2025. But we want 44 squared, not 45 squared. But you see the difference? 44 and 45 are just 1 apart. I'm gonna cut off this time again. Similarly, only this time, like this. And again, just like here, I'll erase these. And if I want them to be the same 45 line, we'll just pretend it's 45, like we'll pretend. So, 44 by 1, 44 by, the one back there, by 1. Now, I want to tell you, we usually use this trick for, like, numbers that end in 9 or 1. We usually use this trick for 9 and 1, but for 4 and 6, they're right next to 5, and then you can use 5. So you know what I mean by saying this soon. So I want this square, right? I want this square, the 44 square, right? But this whole grid is 45 squared. So all I have to do is cross off these to get down to 44 squared. So all I have to do is find the area of these 2 rectangles and then subtract them off from our 2025 45 square. So This is the 1 by 44. 44. And this is a 1, this is a, can't forget. This is a 1 by, this part is a 1 by 44, but there's a 1 back down here. So this is a 1 by 45, area 45. But this one is a 144, it has area 44. Okay, you're not so good at writing out like that. So, what I have to do is subtract 44 and 45, subtract 44 and 45 from my 45 squared, the 45 squared. So, I know, this is again, we don't want to draw this grid every time we square a number that ends in 9146 or that's one numbers. So how do we do this? So again, there isn't really a good formula for this either. But again, we'll use this little box and explain it. So pretend I have, I'll just use A again. A9. A9 will be our number, whatever is in tens place. So A9 is the number. I start off with the square I know. Like, for example, if I had 49 squared. Pretend I have 49 squared. I start off at the square I know. What square that's close to 49 squared is one I know? Well, not 48 squared, that's pretty complicated. But 50 squared, that's pretty easy. No, 50 squared, right? And then I take my 50 squared. I subtract off that number you squared. It's like I subtract off the 50. So pretend I don't care about the extras. I subtract off the square of the number I know, which is 50. And then I subtract off the square of the number I'm trying to find out, which is a 49. So again, this is a very good conclusion since we didn't give you any formula, but still there isn't a good formula. So now, I know, you might have to try to figure this out on your own, but it might be a little too hard. But I'll do 2 homework problems right here. And the first one, that's pretty easy. 15 squared is 225. You have to find out 14 squared. Maybe I'll add a question mark. But here's a little more complicated. We have to find out 104 squared. This time it's 3-digit numbers. And you have to find out 105 squared first if you want to find out 104 squared. So this is optional, and if you do get the answers, check it out with a calculator. Maybe on your phone, maybe a real calculator. So check it on your calculator, see if your answer is right. So, if your answer is right, congratulations. And if you want to share it, you can just leave a comment below saying if you got it correct, if you got it correct or not. And here's a little information on how to do that. So I may just write down number 1, yes or no, and then write down the answer. For example, I may write down 1, and then I say yes because the answer was correct, and then I'm gonna write down 42 if it was my answer, and same thing with 2. So bye. See you soon. Good luck on homework.